Nekya Young Johnson, and I'm honored for this invitation from Gary and Karen to share my Companis journey. It's been a brief journey, but leading up to it has been pretty arduous. So I have my beautiful family here with me, my husband and my children. And so I just wanted to share with you how Companis has impacted my life and where I was a year ago. So a year ago, I moved here from Houston, Texas, and I did not move here by choice. I moved here by God's plan. Now, is it the plan that I had in mind? Absolutely not. So that plan began with Hurricane Harvey. My husband and I were in Houston for the first couple of days. We saw water around us, and we thought we had survived the hurricane, and we were excited. And then as the water receded, mold grew in the home, the ceilings began to fall in, and we had to evacuate our home within 24 hours. The other part of our journey is that in the midst of that, and it's amazing what God can keep your mind on. That's why it's so important when he says keep your mind on him and to meditate. But he had us applying for jobs in the middle of the storm. Don't ask us why, but other people are probably looking at canned goods and other things like that, and we were looking at jobs. We were wanting to see that we knew that God was going to do something new with this storm, and we wanted to be in the right path. And in the middle of that, I applied for a job in Seattle. That was in my field. I'm a PhD candidate from Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas. So I found one in my field, but my husband found a job even faster. And they called him in 48 hours and told him that we had 72 hours to get here. So then we go further faster. That's what we say between us. Sometimes with God's plan, he can take you much further faster than what you expected. So even though it was a hurricane that got us here, my husband got here. He has a wonderful job. He teaches at Denny. He is a technology teacher. But in the middle of that, I said, God, I didn't get that job I applied for. So what's up with that calling with me? Now I'm just here in Seattle. And so I've worked, I have a CV, and I said, okay, I'm going to just apply. This shouldn't be hard. I've gotten jobs before. And 1 month went by, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I had interview after interview, door closed after door closed. And in the middle of this, we were also trying to get our children back because with us moving in such a short amount of time, we sent children to be with families, so we were working to get me a job, a home, and basically rebuild our life. FEMA was not there for our support because we were renters and we were not homeowners, so we had to do all of these things where we had to look to God to carry us through these journeys. So the job thing was even more of a issue after month 6. And so we started visiting a church with my husband's coworker who connected us with Nellie, who will be appointed as a board director, I heard today, to the Companis board. And she took me under her wing. There was a book club that her church began, and they were addressing race in discussions and how to kind of move past a lot of these microaggressions. And so her and I kind of took on a private relationship where she volunteered to leverage some of her privilege and some of her network and introduce me to people in Seattle and to connect me. And one of those people that she connected me with was Gary Davis. And when I met Gary, which was just a few blocks over, when he walked in the room, you could just feel the sunshine. You can always feel his sunshine. You can feel his energy. He's always ready. And so when I sat there, I felt like I had to be ready for something, and I didn't know what I was ready for. And so we sat there and we talked. And the other thing is, I had a lot of hurdles that had come racially while I had been interviewing. So to have this generous man, and not to mention how God used a white man to get the attention of myself and where my journey had to be, because that's the thing about journeys. You can get exhausted and start counting people out based on your journey, but you don't realize you got much further to go, and people need people. and you need people of all statures. So when we sat down, he said, you know what? I can tell culturally this is a big shock for you. And so why don't we, nurse you back to health culturally and find an opportunity for you at the Northwest African American Museum, otherwise known as NAM. So at that time, I was at the University of Washington as a temp, and when my temp assignment ended, I decided to transition to the Northwest African American Museum, and I've been working with Lanisha DeBartolin and Peggy Allen Jackson, and I've been working in their development office, helping them with development and support. And while I've been there, I was able to finish 2 more chapters in my dissertation. And I get to fly down next month to Houston and begin my paperwork for graduation. And I say all that to say is that all the things that we had to rebuild and the things that didn't need to come back, there were things that, that we thought we missed and that we thought we needed, that we didn't need. There were people that we thought we needed to know new people, to fill new needs. And we had to have this new, fresh chapter. And even though it came in the form of a hurricane, it was necessary. And it was necessary in that journey. So I'm grateful for my Companis journey, and I'm grateful for the inclusive environment that they have and the welcoming that they've given and how this chapter is included. And Thursday, I was given my first offer, finally, for a job. So that is another blessing that I have thanks to the Companis journey. So I'm very grateful for my time here with Companis. I'm grateful for what God has done in our lives through Companis. And I'm grateful for just the obedience that came between Gary and I. He was obedient to the Spirit to open his heart, and I was obedient to the Spirit to follow. So thank you very much.